At the heart of what we do is exploring limitless possibilities to enrich lives all over the world. Life is precious, and we are in the business of cherishing every precious heartbeat. Every day brings a new reason to better our lives. Something to learn, something to laugh and enjoy, something to dream. For as long as there's a dream, there's hope, and as long as there's hope, there's joy in living. Reasons for us to keep every heart happy and healthy. Helping us in our endeavor are the many interventional cardiovascular solutions that we create. At our state-of-the-art facilities, we make our stents and catheters, wires and needles, German excellence and Indian innovation backed by credible research. With the unmatched advantage of being the only company with clinical trials data spanning over 10 years for efficacy and safety. And a one-of-its-kind partnership with the German Heart Center, renowned for its pioneering advancements in cardiovascular technologies. It's not surprising we have over 5,000 satisfied clients and 1 million smiling patients in over 50 countries around the world. We trust good things happen when you follow your heart, because there's an ocean of opportunities to discover. And our journey has just begun. Translumina, exploring limitless possibilities of life.
So good evening, everyone. I wish all the viewers a very happy 74th Independence Day. I'm thankful that all of you took out time from your busy schedule to come and view the event. Today, we have a lot of interesting sessions. To start off with, we have chronic total occlusions, the right tips and tricks, where we have a lot of eminent doctors on the panel like Dr. A.B. Mehta and Dr. J.S. Duggal. And to moderate the session, we have Dr. Ravi Kalra. Dr. Ravi Kalra is the professor and head of Department of Cardiology at Bharati Vidyapeeth Hospital. Dr. Kalra has had a long and illustrious career of more than 40 years. He's an ex-Indian Navy officer, where he served for more than 4 decades and retired last year as director and commandant of the prestigious Armed Forces Medical College. So we welcome you, and I would want you to take over the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shantanu. Good evening and welcome, everyone. I have been told to introduce the chairpersons first. And let me start with Dr. Ashwin Mehta, if at all he needs any introduction. I don't think there's anyone either on the panel or in the audience who doesn't know Dr. Ashwin Mehta, a doyen of cardiology in this country, who became a professor at the young age of 34, at the very young age of 34, I would say, and has been practicing and teaching cardiology for more than 4 decades. In fact, I was associated with him when he implanted the first drug-eluting stent in India in the year 2002. Over the years, he has proctored many workshops in India as well as abroad. You name the country, and he's been there. Singapore, Thailand, Switzerland, Sri Lanka, you name it. And of course, he's very much at Jasloke Hospital and is developing a program on structural heart disease there. I don't think too many cardiologists exist without having passed through his hands for training. And I take pride in the fact that most of angioplasty that I know is from him, having worked with him for many years. In fact, let me let out a secret. He was my examiner in my DM. So thank you, sir. It's very nice to see you, meet you after many years. Dr. J.S. Duggal is no less a prolific operator. He's presently the head of the Department of Cardiology at Jahangir Hospital, Pune. Having done his MBBS and MD from the Armed Forces Medical College, he finished his DM from the prestigious PGI, Chandigarh, and did his international training at Rouen, France. He also worked for many years in the armed forces and has since then set up an excellent international practice. He, of course, has extensive international experience, and let me tell you, if you are in trouble, just give a call to Dr. Duggal. If you've lost a stent, if you've broken a balloon or something, or a wire in an artery, just give him a call and he'll be available. So with that, I think we can start the sessions. We have on the panel, on the expert panel, Dr. Jagdish Parekh from SR Mehta Hospital, Dr. Vivek Mahajan from Fortis, Dr. Prashant Udgire from MGM Aurangabad, and Dr. Satyasham Toshniwal from Sri Ram Heart Care Center, Solapur. I'm sure all the panelists are here, and I'll request the chairperson to call the presenters. The presenters are, of course, we start with Dr. Ashwin Mehta, then Dr. Duggal himself is presenting a case, then Dr. Chandrakant Upadhyay, followed by Dr. Vikrant Vijan, Mayur Jain, Dr. Satish Chirde, and Mahesh Aher. I'll request, let me request Dr. Ashwin Mehta to come and present. Sir, all yours.
Thank you very much, Ravi, for a very generous introduction. It has been whilst you were in Bombay, in Mumbai with at Navy, and then we worked together. So many cases we did together. I'm really very nostalgic about our association. And I also remember you're one of the brightest candidates that I examined when I came to examine you in Pune. Well, let me start with my presentation. The penetration of a CTO or the people addressing CTO, this penetration is very low. And that I think is because of several wrong notions.
Arman?
Can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. So let me start with my presentation. I need to share the screen. Santanu? Yeah.
Yes, sir, you will have to share the screen, sir.
Okay. Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir, we can.
Oh, fine, very good. To study a CTO, we must identify three segments: the proximal segment, the missing segment, and the distal entry point in the distal segment. Apart from that, of course, the proximal fibrous cap. Now you see this particular CTO, I'm studying the proximal segment, A, anomalous origin. The artery is arising slightly anomalously and it is downgoing. Right coronary catheter is unlikely to give any backup service because it's a downgoing and you need a catheter facing the artery coaxially. Two, it's trying to obtain the support from the opposite aortic wall, which I think is not very adequate. So that is one. In case if I need the support, I also look into the fact that do I have any branch which I can use as a anchoring balloon branch? The term anchoring balloon and its intricacy, I will explain as I go by my talk. And this is important to study. Second thing is the missing segment and the distal segment. What I see is a faint shadow of the distal segment, but that is not very clear. So all that is needed is that you need to make a bilateral injection. And I've seen sometimes people not being reluctant for some reason or other. I don't know, they're making bilateral injection, which I think is very, very wrong. So the missing segment is important. The length of the missing segment, its tortuosity, and its calcification. Believe me, if the missing segment has calcification of moderate or severe degree, and it is tortuous, it's a signature to failure. Think twice before attempting such a case. Be prepared for a failure. Distal entry point is equally important. Usually, distal fibrous cap is usually soft. Why is it soft? Because the distal segment is usually supplied by collaterals and a low pressure. And it is a low pressure that the fibrous cap is not very hard. However, sometimes it is associated with a bifurcation point. Here it looks like a bifurcation, and whenever there is a bifurcation of this nature, many a times it is likely to go and enter the false passage. You are in the false passage, you come to know only when you find that your wire is outside the distal segment, which is outlined by contralateral injection. Now let us see what has happened. Importance of bilateral injection. Now I have made injection bilateral in this particular case, and you see very well the guide catheter has slipped out. This is a wrong guide catheter. Not only, never mind, doesn't matter, but I can very clearly see from the contralateral side that the distal segment is reasonably well opacified. It's comparatively short. It's maybe about 20 millimeter or maybe a little less than that even. And there is a clear-cut bifurcation at the distal fibrous cap, which I think makes the entry into the true lesion, true artery, very little difficult. The tendency might be to go into the side branch frequently. All right. So this is the importance of when you make a bilateral injection, make sure that you inject the donor artery first and then the recipient artery, just a millimeter, fraction of a second late. Okay. So I changed the guide catheter. Now it is AR2. This guide catheter is sitting very nicely. It's coaxial. This is very, very important. Guide catheter selection is crucial for a success of a CTO. So very good. Now this is in another view, and I find that the segment is a little bit curved. Why? How do I know it is curved? When you find the proximal and distal segment, they move in the opposite direction with every systole, then you know that the intervening segment has some curvature. And this is important to keep in mind, because if you are not aware, you are likely to enter into the false passage or dissection and the whole thing goes. During the missing segment, you will not come to know you are in true segment or you are in true lumen or you are in a false lumen, you are subintimal or no. And it is not even important also. The important point is that in case if there is an important side branch coming in, if you are in a false lumen, you may lose it. But usually does that not happen, and this is not that much important. The important thing is that in the distal fibrous cap, you must enter into the true lumen. Let's go further. Okay, first the optimizing guide catheter support. You should use a long sheath. If you use a long sheath for a 7 French guide catheter, 45 centimeter long sheath makes the support of 8 French catheter. That's very important. And when you have a plan, suppose in case you have to go to the retrograde, then use long sheath on both sides, right and left. And my approach is almost all the time femoral, because I know that I will have to use a 7 French catheter, and we'll discuss by and by why 7 French catheter. Guiding catheter should be aligned coaxially, and it should be deep seated. For that, you might have to 2 views. You might have to take it 2 views so that you know that you're aligned properly. What about the active support? Movement to pass the wire and it touches the proximal fibrous cap. And if the wire backs out, that means, this is something not acceptable. I will need a better support. CTOs require support. So there are several techniques. Buddy wire technique, anchoring balloon technique, both proximal as well as distal. Distal anchoring balloon technique may be needed when you want to pass through a difficult area through a stent. Not very proximal for wire and all, but for distal is for a stent. Use of mother and child catheter, or this is cheaper, but I think Guidezilla or a Guideliner is a correct and easy substitute. Every CTO wire must be supported by microcatheter. In olden days, they were asking me, why not a over-the-wire balloon? Well, over-the-wire balloon is not designed to do that job. Number 2, over-the-wire balloon has a central marker, so you do not know how much you are close to the proximal fibrous cap or how much you are away, you don't know. Microcatheter is a must. Why microcatheter? Well, first of all, it provides a platform to change the wire quickly, because you need to change wire very frequently in CTO. It straightens up the proximal segment. That I think is a good thing. It provides the backup support. Closer you are to the wire, more is the support. And finally, it has a kind of a device which will centralize the wire. It will not allow the wire to dangle inside, so it will centralize the wire. Very good. So what microcatheter? There are 3 varieties which I have listed here, but 2 more I must mention. That is Tornus and Caravel. All right. What about Fine Cross, Corsair, Crusade? Let's see one by one. Fine Cross is the one which is my favorite, and whenever I start always with Fine Cross. Now, why Fine Cross? Its distal entry profile is 1.8 or 1.6 French. It has a gold marker right at the tip, so that I know where is my tip of the microcatheter. And it is tapered throughout its length from 1.5 to 2.6. So it is like a cone, beautifully tapered over a length of 145 centimeter. And also it is internal side is coated with PTFE, and it is hydrophilic. With that, I think it's so sleek to move, even through a difficult tight stenosis or CTO segment, it moves very nicely. I like it very much. Nevertheless, you can use whichever experience, whichever you find more useful or where you have more experience. By the side, I have shown you a Corsair. Here is the Asahi's Corsair, and on the other side, I have shown Tornus. Let me go back again. This was a Caravel. Corsair is here. It has a tapered tip, and it is conical in shape at the terminal end, and it is coated with tungsten powder, so it is radio opaque. It is a Sinca shift technology, and Corsair is very, very good. However, Corsair has a slightly larger profile, so therefore you can use a Caravel. On the right hand side, there is a Caravel, and on the left hand side is the Tornus. I'll talk about Tornus when the case comes in. Caravel is a beautiful. It has a much lower profile, as you can see here. Its profile is 1.4 entry profile I'm talking of, and it is tapered over approximately to 2.6. And I use sometimes interchangeably. When I do sometimes a retrograde approach, and when I find I'm stuck at the entry point in the recipient artery, then I sometimes might have to change over to Caravel. So we will talk about it as the time goes by in my talk. The fine cross catheter we already discussed about, and this is a Crusade. Crusade is a multifunctional catheter, dual lumen catheter. When you have a difficulty in crossing the proximal fibrous cap, you keep on escalating wire. And what do you talk of? We talk of not tip load. We talk of a penetrating efficiency. What does penetrating efficiency means? It means 3 things. Number 1, tip load. Yes, tip surface. Smaller the tip surface over a 0.014 to 0.09, as we see in Fielder XT-A or Fielder XT-R, then I think the tip load or penetrating efficiency further increases. And it also should have an outside lubrosity. For example, polymer coated wires like Fielder XT-A, cyan black, etc. adds to the penetrating power. So talk of penetrating efficiency by 3 things: tip load, tip area, and the lubrosity. This is when you use a Crusade and use a side branch, because it has a double lumen, put a wire there, I think gives you tremendous backup. And using the maximum powered, that is Conquest Pro 12, I think that will give you an ultimate in the penetrating efficiency, which you may need to use temporarily to use the puncture the proximal fibrous cap. And later on, you can change always to something which is a little more less traumatic, little more less powerful, something like Gaia or something like even Fielder again. All right, let's go. Now choosing the right wire. We have a varieties of wires. Somebody asked me a question once. Okay, if you have to keep 4 or 5 wires, which 4 or 5 wires to keep? All right, we have a come 28 wires. Now, which 4 wires or 5 wires I'll keep? All right. For anti-grade approach, Fielder XT, Gaia, one of the Miracles, and Conquest Pro. That's it. I don't need more. However, if I'm doing retrograde, I might need a couple of more. Cyan family and Suho wire, which is the latest edition. Suho wire is 0.3, tip load 0.3. It's like a spaghetti. We'll not talk about the retrograde. That's not my subject today. Choosing the right wires is very important. Lower the tip. Now, in this particular case, which you saw, I think Fielder XT-A has a lower tip load than Gaia 1, but a more lubrosity. So it might be a good idea to start with Fielder XT-A, because varieties of cases where the proximal fibrous cap might look totally flat, many a times it leads to a microchannel, which you might not be able to clearly see. And sometimes, to your surprise, Fielder XT-A works. Now, if the Fielder XT-A does not work, then here it is. So the mid part of the lesion, I could not progress further. is the same case which we discussed about the angiography. And now I have got the support from a AR2 catheter and microcatheter, and I'm stuck in the middle part. The wire is not progressive. Here, the microcatheter is very handy. Remove the wire and change. But to change what? To change what? Change what? Fielder XTA? No. Gaia 2 is Conquest. The strong wire like Conquest series is wrong choice. Why? Conquest Pro 12 is not very torqueable. It cannot take tortuosities. It cannot handle this, and it will dissect. Relatively straighter segment. Very tortuous here. The lesion is curved, and therefore Gaia 2 is preferred. But Gaia 2 did not cross. So finally Gaia 3 succeeded. Gaia 3 has a 4.5 to 5 tip load. Gaia's tip is 0.012, and Gaia is very specifically designed that it has a one-to-one torque. You must learn how to operate Gaia. People who have a habit of rotating wire continuously will have to relearn the technique of wiring, because Gaia cannot be done that way. Make a quarter torque on your torquer, and immediately transmission takes place again. Now, here is this thing that I tried my level best to enter into the true vessel, but it kept on going into the side branch. Now, what do? There is a technique which I want to share with you all, and that is a technique called a side branch technique. This technique is, I tried to change the direction with the Miracle 6, but wire did not work. Nothing was working to take an acute curve, so I go to a side branch technique. All that I do is I deliberately enter into the side branch and confirm its location. Yes, you can see from the contralateral injection that I'm correctly in the side branch, advance it further, and then do the principles of side branch technique. What is it? You go into the side branch, take an appropriately sized balloon. Usually it will take 1.5 millimeter balloon or a little bigger like 2 millimeter balloon, and you expand at the level of the fibrous cap, the distal fibrous cap, where the branch is actually arising. And as you will see in the diagram B, that you have expanded the balloon, inflated the balloon, and in diagram C, you can see that it has created a dissection, and that has created an entry point to the main branch. All right. So I have taken this CTO segment and dilated with 1.2 mini track followed by 2 millimeter balloon. And look what happened. And antegrade flow improved significantly. This is a forward injection, antegrade injection, and I can even clearly see a very fine microchannel. There is a platform there. There is a total occlusion platform there. I can see that, but it is a lot easier now because the visibility is good. This wire did not work out. I injected from the microcatheter. You can make a microcatheter injection because you are proximal still, and therefore microcatheter injection is justifiable because you are in the side branch still, and the side branch has a no lesion, no dissection, nothing. You just simply dilate it. Now injection through the microcatheter, and I can see, take the microcatheter to the back, and with the 5 Whisper extra support wire, which is a very torqueable wire, and just see here how I torque this extra support wire, and just I will wait for a few seconds, and it's trying to enter, and you can see such a floppy wire that it keeps on torquing everywhere, and ultimately I made an entry. Once you make an entry, you can bring your microcatheter. If microcatheter does not cross, have a patience, apply a continuous pressure. You can then rotate the fine cross microcatheter, and in 9 out of 10 cases or 8 out of 10 cases, the microcatheter will be able to enter and penetrate the distal fibrous cap towards the true, correct, large main artery. Having done that with the microcatheter, and I've done daughtering, I bring it back and go again and bring it back and create a clear passage. Having done that, I take a dilatation. After dilatation, 3x40 drug-eluting stent I placed proximally and realized that there is a problem. There is a distal lesion which I had missed. I'm passing this the second stent through the first stent. At times there may be a difficulty because the surfaces are not smooth, and the stent surface, when there is a friction of another stent, it may be a difficulty. There are 2 options. Use a buddy wire. If the buddy wire does not work, then you can use a Guidezilla or Guideliner and deliver. In my case, I had no difficulty. You can see clearly. And having done that, this is the final result. So what did we learn? We learned the side branch technique, important. And let us go to the next case. Another thing which is an anti-grade approach, very commonly used. Some people have reservations in Japan, and I heard in the common meetings, but believe me, parallel wire technique has worked with me, and I think it has been proposed very strongly by Ochai as well as Kato. And when you are depending on anti-grade so much so that if you have mastered the anti-grade technique, you will be able to handle most of the cases of your CTOs. About 15-20% additional benefits you can get from retrograde approach, but master the anti-grade technique well, you will be using it very, very commonly. Let us talk about parallel wire technique. Let us see diagrammatically, these are the cartoon here. The distal fibrous cap, which I have shown you here. Sorry, I have to go back. Here, the distal fibrous cap. And you see here, when you put first wire, it has straightened up the segment proximally. And when you come back more distally, you see here that wire entered into the false passage. Now you know through the retrograde injection, through the contralateral injection, that you know that the first wire has entered subintimally. Never mind. Take a second wire. The second wire should also be taken on microcatheter. You can remove this microcatheter if you have a Saint French catheter, but if you had an 8 French catheter, you can afford to leave this wire here. And in case you decide to remove this wire and go back again with another curve, you may do that. Or you may remove this wire a little bit into the proximal segment, between that CTO, and torque it and go. Don't do it very frequently, because if you keep on manipulating, the false passage is enlarged, the true passage will collapse, and that will not be, then it will lead to a failure. So to manipulate the second wire using the first wire as a landmark, the second wire is just above the distal fibrous cap, and then you penetrate the distal fibrous cap because you know whether to go medially or not. But what is the second wire? What should I use? The second wire, as you see on the left-hand side, the second wire should be stronger than the first wire. It has a secondary curve, which is more acute than the first wire, and this terminal curve is also more acute. Why? Because from the subintimal space, you want to re-enter to the true lumen. So this is needed. Most important, you must know where is the first wire entered into the false lumen, and you should be above that. You begin there. And finally, the two wires must cross each other. The first wire, when you leave behind, it has three advantages. The first wire straightens up the proximal segment. The first wire gives you an additional support. Your second wire becomes a buddy wire. And third wire, there is a geographical mapping. It lets you know where to go with the second wire. Fair enough. Let us see now how have I used this thing. Here is a CTO, a flush CTO of a left anterior descending artery. I don't know the entry point. What do? I can do a side branch IVUS, do an IVUS and come back. And how would I know where is the entry point? Well, you know carina. Carina is always bigger than two branches, main branch and side branch both. So carina is bigger. Suddenly you find that the IVUS, the area is increased. On the IVUS, you know your the missing artery, the total occlusion is somewhere in that area because you have identified carina. And you know the side from the angiography. And if you have a co-registration, you will know exactly which side to enter, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. All right, having done that, I know that where I have to go. Also with the second or contralateral injection, I also know which direction the LAD is going. All right, okay. So now I use the wire, Fielder XTA and Pilot 150 and 200. Why did I use the polymer wire? Pilot also is a polymer wire because I needed a torqueability. You see what the angle is. The angle in relation to the left main is terrible, and I therefore need to come from below upwards. So I used the polymer wires. Both the wires went into the false passage, and I decided to go retrograde. Well, I had kept it this way, and let me show you retrograde. These two wires were parallel wire conquest fit, they did not enter, so decided to go retrograde. Now when I go retrograde, as you see here, the retrograde wire also got stuck and I could not progress. So this became a failed CTO for that day at least. Talked to the patient and I said that I might have to attempt again or I might have to abandon. He was very confident. He said, do it again. And I went next day with the anti-grade approach again. Tried Miracle 6 wire, went again into the false passage, took Conquest Pro 12 wire with the parallel wire technique which I just described. The wire went into the true passage. Unfortunately, this video, I could not take it. But believe me, this wire went into the true passage. Once the wire is there, your success rate is 97%, right? One more case, and calcified, curved, tortuous RCA CTO, distal segment also calcified and tortuous. So what do I do? Here it is, and you can clearly see the curvature, very clearly see. One wire which you should not use in such a situation as far as possible, that is Conquest Pro wire. Conquest Pro wire is not designed to take curves very. In case if you need a high tip load, Miracle 12 is the substitute. All right, so now having identified, now I'm going. Well, with great difficulty, I could cross with the Sion black wire. That's a good thing. Sion black is a polymer wire, almost similar to Fielder XTA, barring besides the fact that I use more frequently in a retrograde approach. All right, having gone there, I'm not able to cross with a microcatheter. So I take an anchoring balloon. Proximal artery has a wire, which is a workhorse wire, and it has a 2 millimeter balloon, which is inflated. Let me tell a word or two to the beginners or to the attending who are at the intermediate level of experience. How do we do? Anchoring balloon is done proximal to the artery, proximal to the proximal fibrous cap. 2, it is inflated at 4 to 8 atmosphere. The artery that you are using should not produce important ischemia. Here I have used a conal artery, and this may intermittently produce sinus bradycardia. At that point of time, it will deflate and give little perfusion to the conal branch and the sinus node and do it again. Usually it should be unimportant artery like right ventricular branch. Now you can see here the guide catheter is way outside, but it is obtaining the support from the opposite aortic sinus, left aortic sinus, and with the the anchoring balloon, I am now passing a microcatheter and it crossed and the serial balloon dilatation done. And after that, I think the anchoring balloon is still there and I balloon dilated. And at that point in time, I've deflated. Having reached there, one can see here that I could deliver the stents, and this was the result. And we can also check that the artery which I had used as an anchoring for support is healthy, normal, no dissection. And this was stented by 2 stents, and this was the final result. Now, last case, and this is the RCA CTO. Looked very straightforward. Some collateral lightening, some collateral circulation or opacifying distal segment. And I thought that this would be cakewalk and I should be ready for a coffee break after this case, but it was not so. And when I made a bilateral shoot, yes, very nice. And BMW wire, I brought the microcatheter. Incidentally, to bring the microcatheter up to the platform, don't use a dedicated wire. They can dissect. Use your workhorse wire, bring the microcatheter up to the entry point, and then start using dedicated wire. In this case, the Fielder XTA wire was used, which crossed, and the microcatheter is here. And I'm using Fielder XT, probably, maybe this is another shot. Fielder XT did not work, and I used a little stronger wire, Gaia, and that I think succeeded. But the balloon would not cross. I tried 1.2 balloon, and there was nothing for me to have an anchoring. Maybe I might find this branch I can use as an anchoring. Let me see. Yes, anchoring balloon has been used, but anchoring balloon alone did not work. So what do I do? Well, you can use a tonus. We'll talk about the tonus when we come to it. I don't want to talk into details because I think my time is getting over. And we use a tonus. We'll talk about from Dr. Dougal how to use tonus and then we can discuss, take it forward. Toners, for a long time, I've not used, available in two sizes, 2.1, 2.6, and we can use whenever we want to accordingly, one for a torqueability and one for a power. And this, with the help of toners, I could cross the lesion, created a channel, and then put a long stent, and this was the final result. I'll stop here, and the take-home message is: do not do ad hoc CTO, always plan, good angiographic anatomy study, proximal missing distal segment, understand your hardware well, ready to change the strategy as and when required, patience and perseverance. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you for this time.
Thank you, sir, for a very, very lucid talk. I think you walked us through all the complexities and the strategies and the techniques very, very carefully. And I can tell you the cases shown were superb. I mean, it is the cases were not meant for the faint-hearted, and all your skills came through, and you illustrated your own teaching very well with your own cases. Thank you. I don't think there are any questions for Dr. Mehta, but if there are, we'll take it later. I think we can go ahead with the next talk, that is by Dr. Duggal. So I hope you will be around to to guide the audience, because your experience.
No, I'm here. I'm here all throughout. Don't worry.
Yes.
Dr. Duggal, you will have to unmute yourself.
Fruits वगैरह दे मुझे.
Dr. Duggal, you will have to unmute yourself. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir,
Yeah.
we can hear you now.
Now we can
please.
hear you.
So I'm showing in the last 3 years, I was able to do some retrograde cases with a single catheter, and mostly with the left system, either the circumflex or the LAD. So here I am going to show you the same artery, which was done through the retrograde using a single catheter. This is a 70 years old lady who presented with angina. She had a CABG 15 years ago when she was 55 years ago with Lima-Rima Y. And now she had presented with angina, breathlessness with minimal exertion over the last 1.5 weeks. And ECG showed an old anterior wall MI. Now the thallium, before that we did an echo. Echo showed a regional wall motion abnormality, though thickness of the left ventricle was maintained. And thallium showed a significant reversible ischemia in LAD territory, which was in the tune of 15%. Yeah. So we did an angiography which showed that the left main was normal. The LAD was a total occlusion, calcified, long disease with tortuosity. LCX also showed critical disease, and RCA was non-dominant and mild disease. So this is the angio. Now you can see that there is a long lesion. The LAD has is not an ambiguous. You can see ostium, which is proximal cap, is not ambiguous. You can see a small nipple after the septal, but the distal landing zone, where probably the graft was attached, is very tortuous, and you see it kinks with every movement, and there is a septal coming. So there is a bifurcation. So this patient, when we saw the interventional collateral, it was very good from the first septal going to the down the septal. But we thought we'll do an antegrade approach first, and we started an antegrade approach using a Corsair with a workhorse wire BMW. We reached the proximal cap and then changed the wire to Fielder XT, a polymer coated wire, since there was some tortuosity and distal landing zone was here. We changed the wire and we are trying to progress. but you can see we have reached the distal, but there is every moment causes kinking, and we were not able to cross it. We tried gradually, we made some progress, if you can see here, but still it was difficult. We had to go up from here, and this we could go up. We can see the wire. We were able to go through that kink, and the wire progressed somehow. And when we checked in the other view, this, and we were not in the true lumen. If you can see this, the wire is above and the true lumen is below. So we changed the wire, changed the angle of the wire, the bend in the wire, and tried again, but we were not able to get into the true lumen despite multiple attempts, despite wire escalation. We tried Fielder XT, changed it to a pilot wire, but still the progress was not satisfactory. If you see in this view, we are in the subintimal space. We again tried for another few minutes, but we were not able to enter the true lumen, and the wire was in the subintimal space, though it gave some hope, but we saw orthogonal view when the wire was out and it was not in the lumen. Here you see in this view, it is not in the subintimal space, but when we did a lateral view, we could make out that we are not. At this point, we could have done antegrade dissection, re-entry, or change into a retrograde technique. But having a good septal collateral, we thought we will change to a retrograde technique. Now this, if you see the origin of the septal, it's almost an obtuse angle, you know. So that is why we had to take the wire, give a double bend to the wire, and cross through the first septal. Now this was a Sion wire, and we could enter, and then we gradually ascended from the second septal into the last septal, and the Sion was facing downwards. We withdrew it, shifted it upwards, and entered the true lumen, the proximal, and this is the bend where we entered. After this, we made further progress. You can see this is entering into the septal, so that we were in the bifurcation. We further made progress. Now at the proximal portion of the proximal cap, we were not able to enter. You see, this is the proximal cap. It was very hard. There was calcification. We were not able to enter the proximal cap. Here it is gone above. So we decided to try a kissing wire. Here you see it is facing the proximal cap but not entering. This was changed to Gaia wire. Then we bought another wire and tried a kissing wire technique, but still the progress was not satisfactory. So at this juncture, we thought we will change to a directed card technique, where we bought a small balloon, inflated the small balloon, and you can see then we were able to direct the wire and take it inside. Here we have crossed, we deflated the balloon, took it out, and then gradually progressed the retrograde wire into the catheter. Here is entered the catheter. Now we wanted to take the crosshair further, and since the support was not there, so we used a wire, not an anchoring balloon, but a wire in the circumflex to improve the support. Here you can see the wire to increase the support. But unfortunately, what happened is that the crosshair fell short. This is a 135 centimeter crosshair, and that day we had used it previously. We did not have 150. So we could not enter into the guiding catheter because of the length reason. So we asked for it. It was taking half an hour to get the new catheter. So we tried what is known as a retrograde catheter antegrade probing technique. So we got a wire antegrade, kept the crosshair there, and tried to probe. And then we were gradually able to probe this, and we entered the retrograde catheter by antegrade probing. It is also called rendezvous technique they use too. So here you can see the wire entering from the antegrade into the catheter retrogradely into the first septal. Having done that, we just checked that we were in the true lumen. We were satisfied. And then we pushed again the Corsair and started dilating this vessel with balloon escalation. We did it with 1.5 to 2.5, gradually kept on dilating. Here you see it's a small 1.5 balloon. Then we changed it to 2 millimeter balloon. And the proximal portion was very calcified and it was not giving way. You can see the vessel is open, but that proximal portion was very hard, fibrotic calcification. So here it's a 2.5 balloon, and then we shifted to 2.75 balloon. Here you see the waste. It was not, we were not able to, we thought we may have to go in for a rotablator, but a non-compliant balloon at a very high pressure, ultimately, you see it's not dilating here, but ultimately it gave way and we were able to dilate this. And then we stented this vessel. Now it's dilated here. We brought the Corsair back and got the wire, the anti-grate wire into the distal LED. Now this is the flow has been achieved. There is a dissection. And then we dilated again with 2.5 balloon distally and proximally with 3 millimeter balloon, and then stented this with a long stent in the mid portion, which was 2.75 by 38. And then a proximal stent was 3 by 28. And they did an IVUS on this. This is a 2.75 38. And then we got another stent, which was 3 by 28. This is 2.75 stent, high pressure, post dilated with the balloon. And this is an IVUS we did. And then we again dilated and put another stent proximally. This was 3 into 28. You can see a stent being, that is the portion which was the tightest portion. We could expand the stent very well in the tightest portion. And this is the result of this dilatation. You can see the vessel is very well opened, all the septal, and you can also see the septal through which we went is intact. There is no damage to that septal. And then we did the circ, we dilated. It was also very hard, calcified, high pressure dilatation. And when we were trying to take a stent, it wouldn't go. So we bought a guide liner. Here's a balloon with a guide liner we can take inside. And then we deployed another stent, which was 2.75 by 38. And this is the final result. This is the final result. So both LAD, which was a CTO, long disease, we could open it. Now this is what is, Dr. Mehta has already told you, dual injection is very important. But here we did not have a dual injection because we had the collaterals coming from the ipsilateral vessel. So we didn't have to have we had a single injection we could see. And this patient had a non-ambiguous cap, poor distal runoff, target was very poor, and had an appropriate interventional collaterals. We tried anti-grate, but after 5 to 10 minutes and 15 minutes we tried, we failed. So we went to retrograde, and retrograde true lumen puncture was tried. That also did not make any progress. So we had to do retrograde dissection and re-entry from using a single guide catheter. So it's very important to change the strategy. Otherwise, though, as Dr. Mehta has said, persistence, perseverance is very important. But if you're failing to make any progress in the face of limited progress, you will land up with complication and failure. And especially when we have constraints of contrast, time, and radiation. So we changed here, and we could able to, with 3, we went antigrade, then we went retrograde, then retrograde dissection and re-entry, and we could open this artery very well. So this is what we did was antigrade, which failed, retrograde, true to true lumen we tried, we failed. Then we did directed cart, and then we were able to do a reverse cart and do a rendezvous or retrograde guiding microcatheter antigrade entry, and then stenting. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Duggal. Thank you very much. You really utilized Brilakis hybrid algorithm very well. It was a good demonstration of changing strategy, which has to be resorted to very often. and increases the success rate in such cases. Very elegantly shown, very complex case. If there are any questions, you can quickly post them. I haven't got any questions yet. But let me ask you a question, Dr. Dugal.
Yes.
There was some calcium at the beginning of the CTO.
Yes.
You are comfortable with the Corsair in the presence of calcium, or any reservations?
No, I mean, there are cases where the Corsair has got stuck, but I was very comfortable because when we took the Corsair, it was easily going through that calcium because the calcium was proximal. And I was showed that the calcium was, most of the calcium was not in the lumen, it was deep calcium. So we thought we could use it, but that's a problem with the Corsair, it may get stuck up in calcium.
Yeah, that is just for the those who are starting off. I think they can avoid the Corsair. Probably you have the touch to find out when it is going to get stuck. But in the beginner, for the beginners, probably Corsair will have to be used cautiously in such a case. Any other comments from the panelists?
Ravi?
Sir.
Yeah, one comment, Dugal.
Yes,
Very
sir.
nice case. My compliments to you. In my retrograde with ipsilateral approach, I call it as ipsilateral approach. And what I have done is taken a second guide catheter. So the Gaia wire, which you re-entered back into the same guide catheter, is not necessary because you want to trap it. Then the Corsair will progress or microcatheter will progress, whichever you use it. When you take a second guide catheter, your wire which has come from retrograde into, it enters the second guide catheter. You can trap it with the balloon. And then your Corsair will advance easily.
Yes, that's very good.
That's
Two guiding catheters and
Yeah,
entry into the one. Yes.
right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can proceed to the next presenter. Next presenter is Dr. Chandrakant Upadhyay. Are you ready, Dr. Upadhyay? Are you on mute, Dr. Chandrakant Upadhyay?
ये बंद कैसे होता है?
I think you are on mute. We can't hear you.
ये exit कैसे करूँ ये?
Actually, there is no end to discussion on such cases because each one is a treat to watch. But I know there is a shortage of time, so we'll carry on. Dr. Upadhyay, if you're ready.
Dr.
Shantanu, can you help him?
Mute. You'll have to unmute yourself.
If there's a problem, we'll go on to the next person and we can come back to Dr. Upadhyay. Shantanu?
So that's fine. I think we can do that. Dr. Chandrakant, if you're unable to unmute yourself, please let me know. Dr. Kalra, I think we can move on to the...
Yeah, so I'll request Dr. Vikrant Vijan from Vision Hospital and Research Center, Nasik, to come on. If you're ready with your presentation.
Sir, I think Dr. Chandrakant is now unmuted. He can...
Okay, we'll go back to Dr. Chandrakant.
Dr. Chandrakant, can you hear us? We're unable to hear you.
Can you give him a call? I don't have his number.
I will. You can move on to the next presentation.
Yeah, we'll move on to Dr. Vikrant Vijan. Are you ready, Dr. Vijan?
Yeah, so I'm ready, but
screen, yeah.
I think the earlier one will have to stop sharing his screen.
I think he has already stopped.
You can go ahead and share.
Chandrakant, we'll come back to you.
So, is my screen visible to everyone? And am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes.
So, first of all, good afternoon, respected teachers, seniors, and colleagues. I would be presenting my case, that is PTCA to LED CTO by retrograde technique. So, this was way 3 years back, a 42-year-old male with no risk factors, no comorbidities, and he had a history of anterior wall MI, and he was thrombolized with streptokinase outside in other hospital in May 2017. He had persistent effort angina class 2, and finally he showed up for angiogram after 2 months. So we did an angiogram which showed triple vessel disease, and his ejection fraction was about 50% that time. So on the angiogram, he had a proximal RCA 90% disease, a mid LAD CTO lesion, tight OM 80%, 85% disease. So we had advised him cabbage that time, but he was not willing for the same. And that time he underwent PTCA plus 1 stent to proximal RCA. So that time I had attempted doing plasty to LAD, and initially tried with a Fielder FC, then XT, and then Provia 3 guide wire. But there was a dissection in the proximal cap. So this was the angio that time, and I decided I would be stopping. And after a period of 6 weeks, you want me to show it again? So this is how it had looked that time. A mid LAD, there was a persisting dissection. So he was advised angiogram again after 6 weeks, but the patient again came after 3 months with effort angina class 2 symptoms. And I did an angiogram again, which showed a proximal RCA stent was patent with a persisting dissection in LAD. So this time I decided to go retrograde. His creat was 1.1 and other labs are normal. So this is the shoot, and this is the LAD filling retrogradely. So what I did is we took a bifemoral axis, right femoral, left femoral arterial axis, and cannulated the LCA with a 7 French EBU and RCA with a AL1 guiding catheter. So initially I tried crossing Sion Blue over Corsair Pro microcatheter, and initially tried through distal to microseptal channels, but could not advance further. So this was, I mean, I had almost struggled for 1.5 hours to try to cross. I knew I was not in the lumen. So again, in a false channel. Then I had exchanged Sion with Suo 3. And finally, after 1.5 hours, I could advance the wire over Corsair Pro. But what happened when I was trying to slowly advance the Corsair Pro? See what is happening. It could not cross. So at this point, Corsair Pro could not be advanced, and hence Caravel was used. And this advanced till proximal LAD. And in fact, it is a Suo 3. We had exchanged with RG3 and the wire was externalized. So this is how I had crossed after going with a Caravel, and we had externalized the wire. Yeah, so the proximal LAD, then antegradely, I had pre-dilated multiple times with a 212 balloon and crossed another Sion wire in the LAD and another wire kept in the diagonal. So antegrade, multiple balloon dilatations, and then I had stented the LED with 2 stents, 3 into 40 and 2.5 into 44 des, and even the OM using a 2.5 into 26 millimeter stent. Yeah. So this was the final result. In fact, I had kept the wire in the diagonal, and then I was trying to, after stenting the LED, I tried to recross multiple times but could not enter. But then I had a satisfactory result in the end. And at 6 months, we had called the patient for a stress test, which was negative, exercise stress echo. So, of course, this required a lot of time. It almost took us 2.5 hours for that case with 220 ml dye. But then the patient did well. And just a take-home message, that tapered hydrophilic wire and step-up wire escalation like how Dr. E.B. Mehta sir has told us, is an essential step, and availability of newer microcatheters would definitely increase the chance of success. And of course, we should stop the procedure if it is harmful to the patient. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vijan. Excellent case. Any comments from the expert panelists? Let me check for questions here. Dr. Mehta, Dr. Dugal, any comments?
You did not externalize the wire RG3, which was not seen.
Sir, I had externalized the wire, and then antegrade balloon dilatation was done. In fact, sir, I've got all the sequence, even the wires which entered the distal to septal microchannels, but then I thought it would be a very big presentation.
Okay.
And after externalizing, I had shown that the two wires were antegradely inserted, kept in the distal LAD and in the diagonal.
Okay.
And then I removed it finally from the RC, and then I stented the LAD and ON.
There are, Ravi,
Yes, sir.
which I think Vikrant has done a very good case, no question. But I'm just telling some few details about, the retrograde entry point into the missing segment, that is distal LAD, should be approximately a centimeter away from the distal fibrous cap. Otherwise, you don't get a place to manipulate. When you are stuck in the micro channel, in the septal channel, Vikrant,
Yes,
when
sir.
you get stuck, there are one or two things that you can do. You can opacify channel through the microcatheter by taking 1 or 2 cc's of dye in a 2 millimeter syringe and injecting 0.5 cc's of dye, and you'll be able to see where you are going wrong. And SUA is a superb wire, but SUA does not have a penetrability at all, zero penetrability. It swims like a fish in the water. It will go through the microchannel very quickly, very nicely, but this is something. Some people have suggested nitroglycerin, but I doubt. Microchannels do not have muscles, and how nitroglycerin will help, I doubt seriously. Dugal, you can add if you have to say. Microchannels would not dilate and should not be attempted that. And finally, the trapping technique. When you sometimes not able to enter into the guide catheter, your wire retrogradely coming, it does not enter into the guide catheter. You might have to use Guidezilla, or you might have to change the guide catheter and things like that, and so on and so forth.
In fact, what you're saying, sir, Godzilla and the micro, it's very important, and especially if you're in the left main and going into the LAD, because it may cause a hematoma, these wires. So if you use a Godzilla and guide catheter, becomes very safe. You can enter the Godzilla guide through the retrograde, and it becomes a safer procedure.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Dugal. We go on to the next. Next case is by Dr. Mayur Jain from Apex Hospital.
Hello.
Dr. Mayur, are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm good. Tell me. Yeah,
Can you see my screen, sir? Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Am I audible? Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity. Respected teachers and the chairperson, I would present my case. It's an RCA CTO. I have placed the name as Macho CTO because I lost a lot of material while doing this CTO and a lot of time too, which was not expected. So it's a 66-year-old male, a known case of diabetes, hypertension, as well as a chronic tobacco user with class 2 symptoms since last, I'm sorry for that, class 2 symptoms since last 8 months. Angiogram showed borderline lesions in the LAD and the circumflex, and RCA had a highly calcified CTO in the mid segment. Patient underwent a stress thallium scan showing indicible ischemia in the RCA territory. So I have kept an image here so that you can see the calcium. I appreciate the calcium in the RCA. So this is the angio of the right. There's a tight mid RCA CTO with a lot of calcium. Hello. Am I audible?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. There's a mid RCA CTO with a side branch just proximal to the cap. After half an hour of efforts with filter XT followed by filter XT followed by the Gaia wires, I could ultimately cross the region with the Gaia second. Here I thought, as you can see, some trickle of the dye across the CTO also. So I thought my job is well done, as I am across with through a microchannel with some amount of dye visible distally. I confirmed my position of the wire through retrograde shoot that I am in the true lumen, and it was confirmed there. But to my surprise, I could not cross anything across that legion, and unfortunately I removed the side branch wire thinking that there is a trickle down, so I might not require support from the side branch wire with a balloon. So, but my microcatheter did not cross my 1.256 balloon. I tried to, because I was in the true lumen, I tried to dilate it, it burst, it could not cross. Even 1x5 across stack did not cross. So all these materials I had lost during this. Then I thought to go ahead directly with a rota wire. Anyways, rotablation was planned for this case. So I kept the micro at the CTO segment and crossed the rota wire. But again, I was facing another problem here. Rota wire just did not enter the PDA, the desired branch. It kept on entering the small, the PLV. And as you see in the second video here, it kept on entering the PLV all the time. But I thought here that, okay, even if I'm not in the desired branch, let me go ahead and rotablate this mid segment with precaution that I did not go till the radio opaque part of the wire to avoid the breaking of the wire tip. And with pecking movements, I could successfully rotablate the mid segment. But to my mayhem, the distal PDA also was very tight, the ostium of TDA, and while crossing a balloon, inadvertently I pulled out my wire. So again, luckily I was not dissected in the mid segment there. So again, all the efforts to be taken, I used a microcatheter and crossed a workhorse wire in the PD, then again took a micro and crossed the rota wire into the PD. And we rotablated with a smaller burr, 1.5 rota burr here for the PDA ostium. The picture had not ended yet. When I took the stent for the distal PD after balloon dilatation, I could not cross the mid legion. And even with 3 NC balloon, I saw this dog boning. So all my NC balloons, and in fact this balloon burst there, another balloon. So at the end, OP and NC balloon worked for me in this case, 3x15 OPM balloon did work, and it expanded the legion well. Then it was a straightforward case. Then we dilated the legion and we crossed a 3x33 stent distally PDA ostium and 3.5x38 for the proximal RCA, which was optimized with NC balloons 3.5 and 4 mm. And this is the result which we could achieve. Though we lost that PLV branch, which helped me to do a rota, we lost that branch, but I accepted this result. So the difficulties which I faced during this case, nothing actually crossed the legion over the wire. I should not have removed the side branch wire to take support. My balloons did not cross, my fine cross microcatheter did not cross the legion. The rota wire denied to cross into the another calcified legion at the PDA ostium, which was tight and calcified. I could not dilate with routine NC balloons even at high pressures, and hence I had to use the OP and NC balloon. What I learned from the case, I should have kept the side branch wire for the balloon support so that my balloons could cross the CTO legion. We should be ready with this rotablation for such calcified legions. If none of the material is crossing a highly calcified legion, rotablation is the savior. It is sometimes safe to go ahead with the rotablation even if your rota wire is not in the desired branch, in a smaller branch, but you should take care that the burr should not go near the opaque, radio opaque part of the wire. OP and NC balloon again was a savior in such undilatable legions, so it is worth to be kept on shelf. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mayur Jain. That was a nice case and good use of the OPN balloon. What size did you use?
The 3x15.
Okay. Okay. That was a excellent demonstration of one of the newer balloons for very hard lesions.
Thank you, sir.
I will invite comments from the panelists, Dr. Jagdish Parekh.
I
Anyone
think
else?
today's time this could have been also done by IVL,
Yes,
which
sir.
would be much more safer. Only thing, cost is prohibitive.
This case was done 1 year back, sir, and I was very new to use the IVL.
Thank you, Dr. Parekh. Any other comments from other panelists? Dr. Mahajan?
I
Prashant
think
Upgire.
Ashwin is trying to speak. Sir, you'll have to unmute, sir. Sir is trying to say something.
Yeah, okay. Jagdish,
Yes, sir.
I might have to disagree with you. See, if the balloon is not crossing, IVL balloon has a lot of profile. It will not cross only. We'll have
No,
to.
no, sir. I'm saying when he had dog boning, that time instead of OPN, maybe IVL would have been much better, safer, and more
OPN
predictable.
Jagdish, but OPN is much cheaper. Personally, what I would have done, Jagdish, what I do, my practice, and Dugal might agree with me, I do what is called as interpolated rotablation. What is interpolated rotablation? If I use 1.5 bar, I take the balloon, 10, 12, 15 pressure. Actually, I will take 2 balloon, Mayur.
Yes,
Very
sir.
good case, Mayur. My congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, sir.
I worked with Mayur. Mayur comes to Just Look. So now I take another wire. Rota wire still stays there. It acts as a buddy wire. But nevertheless, if the dog boning occurs at 10 or 12 atmosphere, I don't want to dissect anything. I immediately 1.75 bar. And thereafter, the success chances are good. My only little query was, Jagdish and Mayur and even Dugal and Ravi, everybody, when you remove the wire and when you put a rota wire again, sometimes it may not be able to find the channel. If the microcatheter is crossed, then changing the rota wire is not a problem, because then it's just a microcatheter has gone into the distal segment. Push the rota wire and remove the microcatheter. But I'm glad that you have found the channel, and the rota wire found that channel and crossed it. I think it's a good case.
That is why I presented the case, because I have now crossed the region. So teachings say that once I have crossed the region, I can easily take the rota wire. But in this case, I was stuck. So therefore, I presented the case so that
Yes.
I can learn.
Yeah, this is a very good case. You could have used a Crusade when you were not entering into the PLV PD. It would have been much easier. But as you said, already the cost had gone so much.
Too high,
So
sir.
that is a very good. And I would agree with what Dr. Mehta is saying. 1.75, rota
Sir,
would have.
We used 1.75 for the mid RCA, and we used a 1.5 for the PD ostium, because the size of the PD was not that much, not appreciable.
But just to repeat what Dr. Mehta has said, dog boning with a 3 balloon is little dicey, this kind of dog boning, because you can dissect. In fact, I would downsize and go up on pressure rather than upsize and increase the pressure.
Okay, sir.
True, very true.
Yes.
I agree with you, Ravi. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mayur Jain.
Thank you, sir.
And I think Dr. Chandrakant Upadhyay is ready. We had skipped his presentation. Are you ready?
Sir, I think he's still having an issue.
Okay, it doesn't matter. We will.
Presentation. I will update you on the same.
We'll move on. Dr. Satish Shirde,
Yes, sir. Good afternoon,
Vedas
everyone.
Hospital, Yavatmal. Yes, welcome. You can go ahead.
Good afternoon, my respected seniors and colleagues and friends. This is a case of RCA CTO. This 65-year female hypertensive non-diabetic who had inferior wall MI 1 year back, and that time angiogram was not done. She was managed medically. So after 1 year again, she had inferior wall MI. She was thrombolized outside and then referred for angiography to my center. So I did angiography in May, and this angiography picture is not here. He is direct PTCA picture. So this RCO CTO was there. I tried to engage with routine guide JR, but it was unsuccessful. So I used Amplas 0.75 engage, and this was RCS CTO. I tried to cross it initially with workhorse wire, but it was not possible. So I took cross it 100 wire. So it crossed the lesion, and here I did daughtering with the 1.5 and 2 balloon, but barely I could see distally vessel. Here I exchanged this wire with run through wire, and with dilatation. This is the picture after dilatation with the 2 balloon. I could see a little flow. I was not sure where I was, I have dissected the vessel or it is the thrombus. So here I dilated serially with 2.5 balloon, but barely could see distal vessel. So I put proximal stent here 2.75 into the 28. As I thought, because of the this chronic occlusion, the flow will be less, and after putting stent, I may see some flow. But here little flow I have seen. So after that, I took 2.5 into 8 balloon, which had dilated with distally, but was not able to see the distal vessel. After serial dilatation, here I could see the distal vessel, and here I put another overlapping stent, that is 2.5 into 44 overlapping. This was the picture after second stent. It dilated with 3.8 NC balloon, and this was the final result. This is a small case. The only problem or difficulty what I was facing, I don't know whether it is a thrombus or what is the difficulty it was. So because the balloon I could daughter up to the distal, I thought I will put a proximal stent.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That was a good result. But I will invite comments and questions from the audience as well as from the panelists. I don't
So
see
my
any.
question is,
Yeah.
did he enter a false lumen and exit was far too down? So that is why, in spite of his first proximal stent, he could not see the distal vessel clearly. Then he put second stent and he made a new lumen for the vessel.
That's conjectural. I don't know.
No,
Anyone?
because the distal vessel was just not well seen after the first stent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a thrombus also. As you said.
Satish, there was any collateral filling from the opposite side?
Yes, sir. I could see only distal bifurcation. That picture is not was not taken during PTSA. It was taken while angiogram. So distal bifurcation and PDA PLV I could see.
My suggestion is that have a low resistance to have a bilateral injection. It helps a lot because you know exactly where your wire is going. What happens is, I'll tell you what, even if you have very nice bridging collateral, from the ipsilateral side, the bridging collateral, opacifying distal segment is not good enough. Moment you cross or attempt to cross the missing segment, the collaterals go on strike. The bridging collaterals will go on strike and you will be totally blind as to where you are going. Have a low resistance to have a bilateral injection, please.
Yeah, it is always better to do with a bilateral injection. All of the CTOs.
You've done a good case, Satish.
Very good.
This is my suggestion.
Thank you.
Sir, my one question is,
valid. That suggestion is very valid. Dr. Duggal did not take a bilateral injection because of the simple reason that he had ipsilateral collateral.
Yeah, that
But
was another.
otherwise,
They were
yeah,
collaterals.
otherwise you have to take. Yeah, it's much better.
no, but in his
There is one
case,
question from the audience. There is one question from the audience from Dr. Anil Mansukhani. Anyone has experience with CTO acrostack balloon, micric catheter and Cordis Shinobi wire?
Yes.
Dr. Mehta has used a lot of Shinobi, I remember, in the old days.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Anil Mansukani, were you working in Jaslok, Anil? Probably yes. Anyway, I'll tell you what, Shinobi wire is very traumatic wire. It came and went away when the dedicated wires were developed by Asahi. Today, Asahi is the world leader in wire manufacturing. And I find that the Shinobi not to be used, very traumatic wire. And what was the other question he said, Ravi?
Acrostat.
Acrostats, that Switzerland balloon, Swiss balloon.
No, I have not used it. Currently, I find, look, I have no interest in any, I have no conflict of interest with anybody, but I'll tell you, Konica has come with Ikazushi wire.
Balloon.
Balloon.
Sorry, Ikazushi balloon. And 1 mm Ikazushi balloon is better, but
The best.
by and large, I find that the Acrostat coming out with 0.75 and 0.8 and all, they do not have a good pushability.
Yes.
And the mini track balloon with 1.20 and 1.25 Medtronic CTO balloon, they are good balloons to use.
What are your opinion about Tazuna and Rejuvic?
Yeah, good.
Tazuna is-
Tazuna, one advantage of Terumo balloons is that 1.5 balloons have 2 markers.
Yes.
So terminal marker is available for your that head sometimes that where exactly you are. So Tazuna, and they have a good balloon. They have a Ryujin balloon also.
Rejuvin
Yeah,
Plus.
Rejuvin.
They have stopped
That's a good
Rejuvin and Rejuvin Plus. Now they have only Tazuna.
Yeah, correct. Tazuna is the good balloon. I like it.
Sir, going back to this case, when you were not sure whether it was thrombus or there was a distal dissection to your stent which was still not well replastered, normally we put the balloon to the distal end of the stent and make a small injection. If it opens up the whole vessel well, it will suggest that you need to put an additional stent. It is not a thrombus.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Thank you, panelists, and Dr. Mehta, thank you for your remarks, Dr. Parekh. Is Dr. Chandrakant ready?
I think he's still trying to make the audio.
Okay, doesn't matter. Is Dr. Mahesh Aher ready?
Yes, sir.
Mahesh Aher is from Atma Malik Hospital, Kopargaon. And
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
if you're ready, please start your presentation. We can always come back to Dr. Chandrakant.
Yes.
And we have time for discussion, summing up at the end.
So can you see the?
Your
We
screen
can't-
sharing is not started. But it is not.
Yes, sir.
you can see your screen.
Whilst just to elaborate on Jagdish's approach, which he indicated very nicely, let us say that you are doing any case in an acute setting, there is a possibility of a slow flow, no reflow, or a spasm or a dissection. Is he ready now? Then I will quit immediately. Then in that case, I think 2 or 3 things. Jagdish, I would suggest step 1, step 2, step 3, inject nitro. If the spasm doesn't go away, take a balloon. Sometimes this spasm can be broken by small balloon inflation. If that does not happen, through the balloon you inject and you find the dye stagnates, it's surely microvascular sludging. If the dye does not move, when you have injected distal to the invisible segment of the artery and you have injected there and you don't see and the dye does not move, the dye stagnates, then I think it's a microvascular and you can use nitroprusside and that would work. I think nitroprusside you should inject distally and that will work.
We use microcatheter and distal as much as possible.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Sir, if he is taking time, can you summarize when you do antegrade wire acceleration? What is your sequence of wires that you use? You always start with XTA?
Yeah, I start with XTA. Japanese start with XTR, but I start with XTA. when I started with XTA and when I find there is a failure, I will not use Gaia 1. No, because Gaia 1 is the same thing, 1.5.
1.7.
Yeah, 1.5 and there is 1.1 or something like that. So then I think depending on the need for a torqueability, I will straight away go to either Gaia 2 or Gaia 3. If that fails, then I'll go to Miracle 6. There is no Miracle 9, 6 or 12. If there is no tortuosity, then I'll go to Conquest 9, Conquest Pro 9, and then Conquest Pro 12.
So
And sir, what is your
we have time for discussion later also. If Chandrakant is ready.
I'm ready, sir. Dr. Mahesh.
Okay, if Dr. Chandrakant is not ready, Dr. Mahesh Iyer, you can start.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Okay, please start. Please take over.
Can you see the video?
We can see your screen.
Okay, sir.
But
Just
you're not
you have to
open
open a
now.
presentation. Yeah.
I think you have to open your presentation.
Yes, sir. Now it's so. Can you see that, sir? Hello?
We are seeing some
Mahesh,
folders and your PowerPoint.
Yeah, Dr. Mahesh, you'll have to unshare your screen, go to your desktop and open your presentation, and then come back to the Zoom screen to share your screen.
Yes, sir.
I can't create any more skip lesions. He is the last presenter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
Can you see this, sir?
It started to share. We're awaiting the screen.
not yet.
Net problem over there, I think.
I think, Ravi, I think this multimedia and virtual presentation, no, it has still to advance to a newer level and make it further more simplification.
Yes, yes.
I think that is needed. It's in evolution.
Yeah, there is.
I'm telling you, sir, I have 3 devices open. I have one laptop, a second laptop, and a phone, and I'm trying to read questions here, program somewhere else. And because the moment I try to change the tab, I go off. So I have 3 devices open in front of me.
And sir, in many places, especially from non-tier 1 cities, internet connection may be a
Very poor.
issue. Yeah, correct. Very true, Jagdish. But I do believe now Mahesh is ready, it seems now.
No, sir, it is still
But the
showing.
screen is not sharing.
Okay, but
Sharing-
Jagdish,
Yes,
Jagdish,
sir.
over a period of time, this virtual will be further simplified, believe me. At one click,
100%,
you
sir.
go straight.
Yeah. This is future, sir.
Yeah.
Why travel 24 hours and go for a meeting when you have all the information on your screen and you can speak to the speaker?
But Jagdish, when we meet personally, you pat my
Yes, sir.
back,
Social,
I pat
yeah,
your
yeah.
back. What a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a
Patting
great
each other's back.
Yeah.
No doubt, sir, one misses the connect.
Correct. And you remember
Please,
your
the
student
audience,
days.
you miss the connect.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Sir, I have one question. You have used anytime Ultimate Browse? They say it is good
Yes,
to
yes.
surf through the body.
Many
of the-
times. Many times. In fact, Miracle Brothers, if you take Ultimate 3, Ultimate comes in 3-gram tip load. Jagdish.
Yeah.
Am I heard?
Yes, very well.
Yeah, Ultimate comes in 3-gram tip load, but it behaves like Miracle 6. It has a very good trackability. Ultimate Brothers is a very good. It's a part and parcel of Miracle Brothers. Everything else is shared apart from trackability and a little bit better hydrophilic properties. It's a very good suggestion, Jagdish. You can use it. What do you say, Dugal?
Yes, sir, it's a very good wire, sir.
Yeah.
In fact, what you have said, that's what we do. If your course is known or course is not known of the vessel, if the course is known,
Body.
then we use the course is known, we use a stiff wire. If the course is not known, we use a coated wires.
You're right. Correct. Very true.
I think Mahesh is on. We can see your
Yes.
presentation.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so can you see the
Yes.
PPT? sir?
Yes. Go to slideshow.
So can you see the PPT?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can see the
We can
PPT.
see it.
Just go to your slideshow and start.
Presentation mode.
Sir, but presentation mode is only.
Okay,
Go next.
go to the next slide in that case.
Aha.
Okay.
We can see now.
Yes, yes.
So the 65-year-old female, hypertensive, non-diabetic, and she had old inferior MI in 2015. Now she had came with the ACS and non-stimulation MI, and her ejection fraction on admission was 45. So we did CAG in March 2020. So it showed
Go ahead.
disease. So LAD proximal 80-90% and RC was TTO. This was the angio. It had the proximal LAD and mid mile plaque. So this was the LAD, and it was showing grade 3 collateral to the RCA. This was again the LAD, and this grade 3 collateral to the RCA. And in RCA also, sorry. In RCA, there were also grade 3 collateral from ipsilateral side also. So we gave choice between CABG versus multivessel PCI. What patient decided went for multivessel PCI after 8 days. So we went ahead with the PTCA2 RCA first and then LAD. So this was first shot. There's a large CTO around more than 40 mm. After half an hour, initially I used BMW followed by CrossFit 200 and with the balloon support. So we could negotiate the lesion. So, but the problem was the balloon, even 1.25 balloon was not crossing the lesion. So I did anchor balloon technique, did one BMW wire in the conus and 1.5 or 2 by 8 balloon in Remus, then 1.25 by 8 progress to the CTO. Then I did progressive. It took almost another half an hour to cross the balloon. This is the what I did as an anchor balloon technique. So after sequential ballooning, the result was good. Vessel size was okay. So with distally we put 2.5 by 24 mm stent, and then it was inflated, and another proximal stent. And this there was proximal dissection above the stent, and then we took a 3 by 32 stent proximally in RCA. And we went with the this dilated, and post dilatation was done. Post dilated with the 3 by 10 balloon, and this was the result after sequential post dilatation and the study. So there was a good flow across the flow, and this was the final result. So there was a TB3 flow in the RCA, and no other complications during that procedure. So take home message was anchor balloon technique is a simple technique to cross balloon in CTO before proceeding to other technique. So we could just do all these anchor balloon technique, because I did not had any other retrograde or microcatheter technique. So we used with the CrossFit balloon, anchor balloon technique only.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh. The one presentation is still left. If he's not ready, we can have some discussion.
Mahesh,
Any
Mahesh,
comments?
have you inflated a balloon in a conus branch?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At
It was
how
not
much
there
pressure?
in the slide. It was not there in the slide, but we inflated up to 6 ATM.
Okay.
Yes.
Any comments from any other panelists?
Ravi?
Sir.
Ravi, I'll make a small comment.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes, who presented this? Mahesh presented? Or?
Yes, sir, Dr. Mahesh.
Yeah. Mahesh, what happens is that when the anchoring balloon is there, you have to
Yes,
use your two hands. With your right hand, keep on holding the anchoring balloon and stabilize it. And with the left hand, you advance the main branch balloon to cross. The reason for that is that you want to prevent prolapse. What happens is you apply more force, and then sometimes the guide catheter backs out and the anchoring balloon prolapses into the main vessel.
Oh,
And at that point of time, it might create a dissection in the proximal segment. Just a small tip that try and stabilize with the right hand, and with the left hand, when your assistant is holding wire, you can keep on advancing the main branch balloon
Okay.
across the CTO. Okay.
okay, sir. Thank
Right.
you, sir.
Thank you for that tip. Any other comments?
Sir, many times
Yeah.
Yeah.
the problem with anchoring balloon is that vessel which you are anchoring causes fair amount of ischemia.
Yeah.
That puts you in deep trouble.
I think we are
It can cause,
uninformed. Sometimes
transient bradycardia also during that procedure.
Yes, arrhythmia, if you are in proximal right, conal branch,
Yes, sir.
becomes
And-
become tricky, sir.
Intermittently inflation of that balloon and advancing the main.
my suggestion is that put a pace wire, put a pacing wire in the RV, and the usual arrhythmias are bradycardias, and or intermittently you release the balloon intermittently, Jagdish,
Yes.
or otherwise it will not be otherwise it hypotension tissue related bradycardia, but sinus bradycardia, of course, it is likely to take place. And then sometimes you can use a pacing wire and continue the procedure. By and large, it works out very. It's a good device. And in anchored balloon, try and go much as distally as possible. Distal. In case the artery which you are going to use as an anchoring balloon has a lesion, don't dilate that. Cross it, and it will now it will act as a obstruction to the prolapse of the anchoring balloon. Inflated anchoring balloon will not
Yes.
collapse if there is a lesion in that artery. So,
Any,
Ravi?
sir, you were saying, please. Dr. Mehta, sir,
Huh?
you were saying something.
No, I'm saying that are there any more presentation or time?
That's what I'm trying to find out. Shantanu, is there anyone else?
No, sir. I think Dr.
Sir,
Chandrakant
sir,
Upadhyay
I
will
have a
not be able
question
to
for you.
present.
The case
Dr. Parekh,
second,
please
So
continue.
the presentations are over. We can have some discussion on.
sir,
this.
the second case which you took up the next day when first day you failed,
Yeah.
normally you have taught us to wait for 6 weeks.
No, it provided there is a dissection. I had not succeeded only, no.
If there is a complication, if there is no complication,
No,
you can
then
take
we
it.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had not entered anywhere, so I just didn't dissect anything. Like that in my library, there are many cases, but I selected only for because I find, Jagdish, the outside in Bombay or maybe Pune and all, the penetration of a CTO is very, very low. So
Sir,
basically,
why not? Even in Bombay, very few people do it.
you are right, and therefore,
Very easy. 1 or 2 centers.
so therefore, very, very complex cases. It's enjoyable, all right, but perhaps I thought that some basic techniques also we should discuss here, so that
Yeah, that
they
is-
can.
Sir, we have done about 66 cases in 4 years from 2016 till January. My postgraduate student is thesis subject.
Very
And our
good.
success rate was 70%.
While talking about Mayur Jain, are you there or you have left, Mayur? Mayur Jain is left or Mayur Jain is there?
He should be there. Mayur Jain, are you there?
Maybe yes.
Probably he can't hear us.
Available, sir. He's kept his video.
Anyway, we've had a very, very nice session on CTOs, and I think every presenter demonstrated one technique, whereas the two masters Dr. Ashwin Mehta and Dr. Dugal showed us a combination of techniques, showed us the value of having a mastery over the basics. That is very important. And they had the change of strategy, the flexibility, which increases the success rate. One should have a mastery over various techniques. And of course, in CTOs, experience counts. I don't think anyone without some experience should even attempt the difficult CTOs. And it is good to learn from the masters.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, yes, Dr.
I had a net connection issue and I couldn't in between participate.
Yes.
So I had a question for Dr. Mehta. So if you are having a CTO and you could cross the wire into the true lumen, but you are fine able to cross and you're stuck in the middle segment in between, far away from the distal cap. So is granuloplasty, what they call as rupturing the balloon, a good technique, or it should be avoided?
Who's asking? Mayur is there? I was asking this.
No, I'm Vivek Mahajan.
Mahajan is asking.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I am not in favor of granuloplasty. I'm not in favor of, because there are a number of fine, refined techniques, and to me, granuloplasty is a very traumatic technique, and I feel that I could manage without doing such a thing. My point was different, which I was trying to make. When Mayur Jain could not find I think somebody who was had to change to rotawire, and he had to bring his original wire out and then go to rotawire.
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
Mayur. Dr. Mayur.
Mayur. I have one suggestion. Here, tonus may be useful. Tonus.
Yes.
Tonus is that microcatheter which has some 8 strong wires stranded in a rope, and it has a distal 1 millimeter tip which is without wire. Now what you do when you keep on doing counterclockwise rotation, it is a technique which I think you have to demonstrate by a small video, which I have on the store, but I can't show you now, is that with your 2 distal fingers you stabilize the wire on the torquer. With the 2 left hand finger you keep on advancing gently the torquer, and with your thumb and the index finger keep on rotating for 2.1, 40 rotations, and 2.6, 20 rotations counterclockwise. The structure of tonus is such that you have to keep on rotating counterclockwise. If the tonus makes a progress, well and good. But if it does not progress, then you allow it to undo. Stop everything, allow it to undo, because keep on rotating, it will fracture. So, and then tonus advances. Even if tonus advances a little bit, even a little bit, you can then take a balloon and dilate, and you will create a crack. And then that way, if you can actually go right up to the distal cap in tonus, nothing like it. Now it has created a small, nice lumen through which you can pass a wire, you can pass a balloon, you can pass a OPN balloon. The options are yours. But tonus is, nowadays people don't use tonus very frequently.
But sir, Japanese
Say that. Yes,
Japanese used to say that tonus rarely fails. It is such a great device.
Yeah.
And you can achieve same kind of little bit result with even our microcatheter Corsair. You can rotate that counterclockwise.
I would say that Carvel may be better. Carvel you cannot rotate at all. You should not.
And yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, Dougal, I don't know whether you used it or not, Dougal, is excimer laser.
No, sir, I have not used it. But Tornus I've used a lot, sir. And as you say, it works better. Like if you have a calcified artery, it is better to use Tornus than Corsair.
Yes. Yes. Tonus will be better. Excimer laser followed by a rotablation. See, excimer laser works by 3 things. It produces a chemical change, it produces a mechanical change, and it produces a sort of thermal change. 3 things. It vaporizes, the bubbles are created from the tissue material, and the microparticles are less than 10 microns. So I think laser is a good technique, and I'm going to acquire it in case possible, and if it is supported by the hospital. It's a niche product. I mean, yeah.
And now the complication, the perforations have become much less with the, earlier it was a very high incidence of complication with laser.
You're right. I think you
now
should
it has become less. Yes.
0.8 or 1.2 size laser should be quite okay. And but I've seen some of the most difficult cases of being done by laser from English presenter. I forget his name, but very, very beautiful cases. But it's a niche product and they're very expensive, very expensive.
So if you, even if your torus fails to cross, is that the end of the CTO? No other technique beyond that?
No, he showed it with the rotablation, no?
Yeah.
Torus will help to cross the wire. But Mayur showed with that the wire, fortunately the pathway had a memory and rota went through the same wire. Ordinarily nothing goes, then you bring the microcatheter as close to the area where you have crossed, remove the wire quickly and put the rota wire, mostly it will go. Dr. Matthew had shown one case like that.
I have got a case like this. Immediately pull it out and pass a rota wire, it goes easily, and then do a rotational atherectomy.
You are absolutely right. Absolutely right.
We can come to the end of the session.
Yeah.
And we've had a very, very fruitful discussion, all thanks to the panelists and of course, Dr. Mehta, Dr. Duggal. Everyone has added. I think if I have to sum it up, CTOs remain a perpetual problem, probably the commonest cause for incomplete revascularization. As I said, before attempting a technical CTO or a difficult CTO, you should have a mastery over your basics. You should have extensive knowledge of your hardware, and you should have that extensive hardware on your shelves, because you may have to shift from one to the other. It may be expensive at times. You should have flexibility and experience. Experience counts. With that, I thank everyone for their participation, the speakers, the panelists, Dr. Mehta and Dr. Duggal. Thank you very much, and I'm closing the session. Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Kalra. Thank you, everyone, all the eminent people, doctors on the panel, the young ones, Dr. Mayur Jain, Dr. Vivek Mahajan, Dr. Satyasham Toshniwal, Dr. Vikrant Vijan. Thank you, Dr. Duggal, for all the inspiring talks and all the lovely cases that you have talked about. I want to thank all of you for taking out time for it. To all the viewers, thank you for joining. We are going to have another session post this at 6 on bifurcations and trifurcations. Please do log in for that. And with that, I wish...
Is it the same credentials? We can continue in this meeting, or is it a different credentials?
The viewers link is different, sir. I will forward it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
At the heart of what we do is exploring limitless possibilities to enrich lives all over the world. Life is precious, and we are in the business of cherishing every precious heartbeat. Every day brings a new reason to better our lives. Something to learn, something to laugh and enjoy, something to dream. For as long as there's a dream, there's hope, and as long as there's hope, there's joy in living. Reasons for us to keep every heart happy and healthy. Helping us in our endeavor are the many interventional cardiovascular solutions that we create. At our state-of-the-art facilities, we make our stents and catheters, wires and needles, German excellence and Indian innovation backed by credible research. With the unmatched advantage of being the only company with clinical trials data spanning over 10 years for efficacy and safety. And a one-of-its-kind partnership with the German Heart Center, renowned for its pioneering advancements in cardiovascular technologies. It's not surprising we have over 5,000 satisfied clients and 1 million smiling patients in over 50 countries around the world. We trust Good things happen when you follow your heart, because there's an ocean of opportunities to discover. And our journey has just begun. Translumina, exploring limitless possibilities of life.